Hello, good evening, everyone. This is Deidre with Are You a CPS Victim Like Me? I am joined here this evening with a guest that I will introduce here in a moment. But for anyone that might be watching the show that is new, I am a mother that went through a CPS case myself back in 2020. And along the way of our fight, as we like to call it, with this corruption of CPS, I found an attorney. His name is Vincent W. Davis, and he's a CPS juvenile trial defense attorney here in Southern California, and I do my show under his platform. And anyone that is out there that is interested in being a guest on my show in the future, I usually do my shows on Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific. This week we had a scheduling conflict, so that's why we're doing it tonight. But anybody that's interested in the future, you can always call that number on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, the 888 number, and we can get you set up to be a guest in the future. And for being a guest on the show, you qualify for a free 15-minute consultation with the attorney if you happen to have an open CPS case still and you might want to get some advice or possibly maybe even be able to retain him as an attorney in your case. So I don't want to take too much time away from our guest this evening, but he is going to share his story about how he's been affected with CPS. And I believe he's also local to me here in California. He's in San Diego. So I don't want to take too much more time away. So Ricky, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and go ahead and start your story wherever you like. Thank you for joining us, by the way.
Great. Well, I'm not a front man, spokesman. So, oh my gosh.
You good?
I'm sorry, Deidre. I was trying to get the link to my advocate. I don't know if
No worries. Our guests understand. So if you want to, if that's her and you want to tell her to just click the link, then she can join as well.
All right, let me Oh man. Okay.
No worries. It's okay.
I guess it's the this
It's
is a
the
link.
link
I
that,
guess I can copy and paste it.
yeah, you can. Uh-huh.
And I'll text it to her.
We might have another person join us this evening, and that's great. More people,
Okay.
more knowledge.
My phone's being blown up. It never rings like this.
It never fails, right?
No, my name's Ricky Robinson. I'm in San Diego, and I'm fighting the most traumatic nightmare in my entire life. All my son's babies, my daughter-in-law's babies, they had a rough time, trying to get stable, and when you don't have a home, it can cause arguments. But mom had postpartum depression, really bad. Mm-hmm. So anyway, they were CPS act like they were going to help here, but they gave her the okay to go to Mexico with her family, but she went to Missouri instead to get on her feet. Well, this social worker, I guess it messed with her ego. She hunted her down like she was just, a fugitive, but it was only a misdemeanor. They were lying to her like the U.S. Marshals were going to arrest her, law enforcement. It's a pretty complex case. It's all over the internet. It's pretty high profile here. A caregiver is involved with this. Used to be an adopted aunt. They're estranged like by 12 years. She literally went out of state twice to coerce her into coming back. I'm just going to tell you the short version. She got her to come back, trusted her. Next thing you know, as soon as she hooked up with me, the paternal grandfather, she alienated her from her children. This woman is literally trying to steal her children. We have caseworkers here, social workers. They have retaliated against my entire family over free speech. Retaliated something fierce. We just want the babies back. Mom's doing well now. She just had 2 new twins. Days after she had the twins, they were literally out at dusk, at twilight, hunting them down. I caught that on video. That got almost 1 million views. They just don't quit. So it's in court right now. She got a new judge. We're hoping this judge sees right through these predators, I call them. Like I said, it's a complex case. I'm just trying to tell you the short version. There's never been any abuse or neglect on our children until they were in the hands of the county. Now they're being
I believe
abused.
it.
They're being
I
tormented.
believe it.
They've been covering up sexual abuse on a 2 and a 3-year-old. Well, she's 4 now. They just don't think there's detrimental harm, and I proved that on video. I mean, when you have a baby, a 2-year-old, screaming when they're being put in a county van, they don't want to leave their mom, and you can see it's a neurology go like short circuit in their brain, beating their heads on a car seat, screaming for nearly 10 minutes. Does that sound like they're happy where they're at? That's what they
Can I ask you what the reason was why they took the children from the mother? Was it just because she didn't have a place to live?
Well, they're trying to say domestic violence. Nobody was charged with it. Arguments.
Isn't that always like the kicker? It's like, how do these people get their kids taken for child abuse, but don't get a criminal charge against them?
Well, right, but that's so here's the funny thing. They literally, this Ashley Purnell social worker literally crossing state lines, hunting her down, and she tried to get Missouri services involved. She got rejected. They told her straight up, California, I'm sorry, we're not getting involved. This does not fit the criteria of child abuse or neglect. They kept hanging the phone up on them. But like I said, a caregiver that she trusted was from an adopted family, coerced her, came to Missouri twice. She intercepted a CPS letter. Oh, there's an open CPS case, and told her it's best you come back. Let's get this, taken care of. And, it didn't work like that. This woman, and I'll say her name, and I have a restraining order, Narma Oliveras. She's evil. She is CWS here in California has shielded this demon. Who in the hell tries to steal people's children? That's sick. Listen, I've been a caregiver here for 7 years for my mother. She just passed away a few months. She got caught in the crosshairs. She had dementia. The girls always made her smile in this, and they'll never see their great grandma again. It's sick.
Now, so did this caregiver get placement of the children once she convinced her to come back?
Yeah, well, they did an emergency like RFA on her. She didn't even have to take the classes. And my daughter-in-law, she came back here. Listen, now, will you take care of my kids? I'm going to turn myself in. I just don't arrest me in front of my children. They arrested her. She was breastfeeding. She missed her child's first birthday. They detained her for 5 days. And then they let her out. There was no charges. They dropped him. But when this caregiver...
They didn't give her children back.
No, they were at the caregivers. And she was seeing them all day until bedtime. Until the caregiver said... Until she found out... Well, this woman literally had her phone tapped because it was in her name. She gave her, and she was turning in text messages. She was trying to micromanage her, just control her. You're not doing enough. You to get your kids back. What? I trusted you with my kids. It's when she found out she was talking to me, the paternal grandfather, boom, no more visits. She made him do it through the agency, 2.5 hours to supervise, unsupervised, supervise. We had unsupervised. I am RFA approved. They still won't give them to me. They fought me for placement, and I believe that's breaking their own family first act.
Yeah.
It's
How long have they been with this caregiver?
This has been going on since June of 2024.
Wow. What is her next hearing?
Well, we just had one yesterday. They had the little box checked for termination and adoption. It's it didn't
Is her
happen.
reunification services still intact, or have those been terminated?
They're trying to terminate them. So here's what happened. They're supposed to reunify by the kids. That's all they
Mhm.
talked about. Well, I'm going to say his name, David Miller. This guy's a social worker predator. He was causing her panic attacks, constantly lecturing her behind closed doors. He would call her up, "Are you by yourself?" And when yeah, I'm by myself. Okay, who called the United States border? He would just constantly gaslight her, lecture her, blah blah blah. You can't do this. You have to move. You can't have nothing to do with the paternal family. So see, after she realized the caregivers were on her side, they both parents they wanted to move the kids with me. I finally got RFA approved, but she spoke out at the Board of Supervisors in June about him, how he would block the door and just rail on her, causing her panic attacks. I mean, she asked twice, "Will you let me out now?" Can I get out the door now? And right after we spoke out, boom, they lost an investigation and tried to make her a sexual predator, psychological predator. And then they coerced the 3-year-old, my granddaughter, and said she was in her daddy's car because not supposed to see her daddy. We would have never done that while we were having unsupervised visits. And that's what they're going by. No forensic expert. You can plain simply see it in the report. They led her on. Hey, what are you going to do on Zaya's birthday? Oh, I'm going to have cake. What about your daddy and grandpa and your mommy? And somebody just wrote it. She was just in her daddy's car, but no timeline. But it's a lie. She hasn't seen her daddy in 2 years, and that's what they're going by. Why they want to terminate the rights? It's ridiculous. So we've been
Why
fighting.
hasn't the dad had any visits?
Well, he's also a victim from Florida, and it literally caused his mother's death. I fought that system too. So he couldn't stand. He wasn't going to visit. He goes, "I'm not a visitor because you told the social workers, if I visit my children, they're coming with me. You're going to have to call the police." He would not bow to them. He goes, "I'm not doing a service plan. I've been charged with domestic violence. I'm not a criminal here. My children has never been abused until they were in your care. I'm not going to put my daughters, especially my oldest one, when I visit her, even when he did visit her on a video, she would cry. He couldn't stand it. So he wasn't going to do the service plan. He wasn't falling for it. And he just fought them by filing motions and writs, left a paper trail of at least 50 motions and writs and affidavits, that paper trail, so we can eventually get this in federal court. You got to go through the, what's it called? Exhausting your remedies first.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't, he just wasn't, he was telling the judges, "Listen, I don't take orders from child traffickers." They put a warrant out for him one time, breaking confidentiality. He didn't care. He was posting CFT meetings, posting hearings. So
isn't it kind of ironic how like they want to be so like anti-recordings and anti this and that, but it's like if you have nothing to hide, then what is it that you're so worried about people posting? You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's like
they go by, well, when the girls are like in high school or something, they're going to see their names. I go, no, you're going to be embarrassed because you're the one that kidnapped them. You're the one that caused the harm. They're going to know that the parents fought dearly for them. That's all that.
exactly.
Yeah, that's a bunch of crap. We don't buy it. You know what I tell them? When they've ejected me 3 times out of the courtroom because I was literally telling the deputy and everybody, I go, "This is a pedophile ring in here. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows it." Yeah, it's
Now, if you've been RFA approved, why can't you file a motion to
they
I don't know what the
they
right.
they hate me. I think they just recently put a temporary hold on my RFA because they were accusing there were children in the house when they were hunting down the twins. I've never met the twins. So they
Now, where
weren't
did
even
the
here.
twins go?
I safe under heavy guard.
Oh, so CPS hasn't taken them.
Oh, no way. Are you kidding me? No,
Oh,
They'll never touch them. We called them out. So we caught them on video. That went viral. There's also a phone conversation. They were trying to conflate the old case into a new one. We know that's illegal. And then our thing now is we won't talk to your supervisors. We do not talk to your managers. We would talk to your bosses only. The chief, deputy chief, the new one, Elizabeth Hernandez, and the director, Alfredo Gardado. We were not deal with little people. And then, boy, they went away. Yeah, it's when we go to court.
So
When I
there's
go to
no
court,
open CPS case against the twins?
no, no, yeah,
Well, don't you think that's also ironic then that the mother can be an okay enough mother to have her twins, but not okay enough to have her other children back?
it's sick. They don't make sense.
No, exactly.
They're not even people. When we go to court, they always bring up that confidentiality. And they ask me, do you promise to abide by the confidentiality? And my answer is always not if it violates my constitutional rights. So, and then,
They
well,
don't
we're
go
going to
by
have to,
anything of the Constitution in juvenile or
right,
family court. It's not
I
even a
know.
court. It's like a circus or theater. I
The,
mean,
the other thing I tell them, I go, there is no confidentiality. That stuff flew out the window because this is now a crime scene. These are no longer dependents. These are hostages. So there's no confidentiality. I tell the judges straight up. They recently put a restraining order on me the other week. So the guardian ad litem came up to me July 31st in the lobby of the court. She goes, "Hi, are you Ricky Robinson?" I go, "I am." "Well, I'm Nicole McCon. I'm the supervisor for Lisa Haight, the guardian ad litem that character assassinated me for over a year." And she goes, "Well, I demand you remove Lisa's photos off your blog." I go, "That's not going to happen." "Well, we'll let the courts decide." It's still not going to happen. So she orchestrated. She couldn't do it with a public figure, so she got the caregivers involved and used my grandchildren against me. Put a restraining order on me with my own grandchildren. I literally had a war with them in this courtroom the other day. She brought me to out of the jurisdiction, 80-mile round trips. She shopped for a judge. And what I was in there with in a war zone, me against everybody. And they just lie, they smirk on the stand. I go, you won't be smirking when this is in federal court. Trust me, it's going to federal court. And it's a retaliatory restraining order against my free speech. Oh man, that's a lot for my brain.
Well, you have somebody that has also joined the show this evening. Do you want to introduce her and have her speak a little bit? Or
I'm sorry, what's that?
I said you had somebody join us this evening that's also on the show here. I don't think she's showing her video, but do you want to
Yeah, she
introduce
doesn't want
her?
to be on video because she's a
Okay,
kind
that's
of
fine.
important.
Okay, well, do you want to have her speak a little
Hi,
bit?
I'll
Yeah, go
introduce
for it.
myself. Hi, I am a friend of Ricky's and the family, and my name is Donna. I'm a social worker. I have a master's level degree, a license in Georgia, and it's a common theme across the United States. From what I
Yes.
found, I have fought against many attorneys, called judges out, all of it because the families that I've helped, they were falsifying documentation. They were falsifying drug tests. I went from the police to the head of defects to the Office of Child Advocacy. I even called the GBI. And they made me out to be like some quack, and I wasn't credible. And they said that I just wasn't credible. I was a liar. None of it ever happened, but it did. And
Are you still currently a social worker?
I am, but I PRN'd for DFACS in 2 counties in Georgia. and I just could not believe what I see. I washed my hands with the whole department, and so I actually work for a nonprofit clinic, which is amazing right now. I help with the homeless, but I'm also helping a family. Recently, I was in court testifying on their behalf. Um, they are special needs, very functional, and they lied in court and about things that happened while she went into early labor. They came here from another state. She went into early labor. They were going back home. The sweetest couple, kind, not a malicious bone in their body. They said terrible things about them. Well, right after they ended their rights, they did a TPR case on them. The attorney didn't have the case plan. The case manager never gave them a case plan. And they did what they could. A person that a parent that doesn't have special needs um, can't even navigate the system, let alone someone that they should have provided resources to. And they are very functional. They have their own place, they work, they're good. Well, they told these lies, and I knew it would have had to been documented. So as soon as they ended their rights, we went and filed an appeal. Um, we asked for the transcripts. They said, well, we don't do transcripts. We have audio. I'm like, okay, well, I'll take the audio then. You can get them in transcript form, but they didn't do it. Went ahead and took her over to the hospital so that we could get the records. They only wanted to give us 45 pages, but we got all 375 pages and nothing was in there. When I tell you nothing. So this is the kind of things that they do. And the attorney actually said this is a pattern with them taking newborns and young children,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's always the families that are fighting for their children,
Of
the
course.
families that are, not drug users, didn't
Well,
have
unfortunately,
children.
those children are considered, damaged goods. They don't want the abused or neglected
Yeah, they
children
don't
because
want
then
that.
they're harder to adopt out. It's all about the money, you know?
It is all about the money. They make so much money on each family.
Mhm.
And then
And they get
recently
bonus incentives for adopting out
oh
instead of
gosh, yeah,
reunifying. It's like that's completely backwards in itself to begin with.
yes. I actually had someone from one of the higher ups that I reported something to. Um, they did nothing, but he did ask me, why do you think they do this? And I said, I don't know. Like, why would someone go into a field like this and abuse families? Like, I don't know how they sleep at night.
I
But
don't
he
either.
said, well, yeah. And he said that literally they were selling children in one of the counties. Like,
Yep.
yeah, I mean, it's just awful. Yeah, it's just
I lost
awful.
mine to adoption. And when my case first opened, I was 8 months pregnant with my third child, which then I found out when I gave birth was going to be taken immediately from the hospital because I had an open CPS case. And that's the child I ended up losing at the end of the day because the foster parents that got my newborn placed with them at like 1 month old, beautiful, healthy baby boy, they ironically couldn't have children of their own and found out that if they went through the county that they would basically get to adopt, a healthy child like they got. And 2 years later, here we were at our TPR hearing, and they show up with their own lawyer now and basically was saying in the hallway that my mother-in-law had eavesdropped on because they didn't know who she was, that they need to hurry this case along so that they can keep their son. And that's exactly what they ended up getting. And my child is half black, half white, and he's now being raised in a Mormon, blonde-haired, blue-eyed couple's home, that he's totally going to be traumatized growing up with that kind of, atmosphere in itself. But, it's just sick to think that the child that I lost wasn't even born when this nightmare of mine started. But I see how they had their eye on the prize of the narrative that they were wanting to write. And the only reason why I didn't lose my rights to my two older boys is because my mother had them, which everyone would think was a good thing, but think of the worst case scenario with that. And her then saying, well, I can't afford to take care of these kids if I adopt them. So she found out if she was the legal guardian, she would continue to get paid all this money every month till they were 18. So that's the only reason why I didn't lose my rights to them. So I'm currently in the process of fighting the termination of the guardianship. So hopefully it will end in my favor, but you know how that goes. But it's been a long process. Since 2020, I've lost out on,
Right.
you know, over 5 years of
And
time with my two older boys, and my whole family is turned against me because of this. And that's what they also like to do, is to divide you from all of your
yes,
friends and family, and think that you're still the problem and that they don't take kids for no reason. And you know, it's just disgusting from every standpoint. But at the end of the day, they're supposed to have the best interest of the children, when my almost 14-year-old and almost 12-year-old constantly beg every day to just come home. And
I
that in
know.
itself should be enough in court, because they're at that age where, you know, their voice should really matter. And they're still trying to fight me from every
we,
avenue and getting them home, you know, not to
right,
mention, you know, my youngest that I lost. But it's
we
just
have
the whole system is corrupt, and it's all
we
about
It,
whatever
it
gives them the bigger
is.
dollar amount.
yeah
It is
we
corrupt,
have
and
we have to join forces and build an army. We have to put an army together, like a huge army.
Well, have you heard about, I know you were referred to me from Kristen, but she's also a member of the Family Court Fraud Warrior Project. Have you
Right.
oh,
heard
I've
about
seen
that?
it. Yeah, I think I joined that, if I'm not
Was
mistaken. Yeah.
Dave Weigel as the
Yes. Oh, yeah, yeah,
person
yeah.
running it? Well,
Yes. Yeah,
the
he's
reason
from.
why I'm mentioning that is because Ricky brought up a good point, as far as, you know, there's thousands and hundreds of thousands of, you know, advocacy groups against CPS and family court. And I get it. We're all trying to do one purpose and get these kids home and not taken from, you know, innocent families. But at the same time, it's too many leaders and not enough followers. And so Dave's approach, he is from Wall Street. He's a fiduciary. He owns his own company, but he went through the family court system for over 14 years. And he finally was successful in getting his kids back home. But it was because he kind of looked at it from a different standpoint, as far as, well, what his project is doing is, what I should say is, he's bringing it into the fraud part of it, because that's what he does.
Oh,
And, you know, on Wall Street, but he's
we have
basically,
somebody doing that too here in
his page
California.
his page on Facebook is not a typical Facebook page. He's using it as a public ledger, where everything on there is all about truth and transparency, and people post their bar complaints and judicial complaints. And once he gets 2,000 vetted complaints, because he has a big, long process that they go through, because just one case that is not vetted through can mess up the whole thing. But once he has 2,000 vetted complaints, he's going to basically file a big, you know, lawsuit that, you know, hopefully will maybe put an end to all this. But he's already had, in the last year that he's had this Facebook page, he's had 30 success stories, where simply people are walking into court and letting it be known that they are a member of this project, and they know who runs it and what it's all about. And their cases have been closed and their children have been returned immediately, because what it is also is, he has like a wall of shame and a wall of fame. And all of these judges and attorneys and anybody that's corrupt that is being brought through this system is being put like on this wall of shame and being called out, as far as that is. And they don't want to be a part of that. They don't want to, you know, be called out for what they're really truly doing. And so they kind of just close those cases and let these kids go home, just so that they aren't involved with this whole fraud part of it. And
Now, is that only in New York City?
no,
These
it's
families
anywhere in the
are all
world,
over.
anywhere in the world,
Okay.
anywhere in the world.
We
Yeah.
have
And
someone
if you just go on
brilliant.
Facebook, and look it up, it's the Family Court Fraud Warrior Project. He has little featured tabs on the top that you can click on, and they have videos
Oh, I'm a member.
explaining.
Yeah, I'm a member. I'm well aware
Okay,
of
so
him.
on the
Yeah.
top of the Facebook page, you'll see like a featured tab, and you click on it, and there'll be videos, and it will literally explain to you, like, step 1 on what you need to do. And then step 2, basically you need to do like a 3 to 5 minute video, you know, just real simple, of your name, your county, your case number, and, you know, a little snippet of what happened to you. And then after that gets done, then he'll have you come on and do an exit interview, where he'll actually like interview you on a video. And then after that, you continue to post like any bar complaints or judicial complaints or whatnot. And then you'll follow through all the different steps about how to get help from the project in your specific case or for anybody that's interested. But he's, like I said, in the last year, he's had 30 success stories. And, hopefully it will continue to go that way. And maybe something might actually be done about this. I mean, because everybody is out there fighting the same corrupt system and it doesn't seem to get anywhere. I mean, you think you're going to hire the next better attorney or the next better attorney. And, I mean, I do the show under an attorney, Vincent W. Davis, which has had a lot of success in the last, I think, almost 40 years that he's been doing this. And, I advocate for him and do the show under his platform because I truly believe that he is one of those few attorneys out there that are really doing it for the children and not for the dollar amount. Granted, it is an expensive thing to do if you hire him, but it's because it's an expensive system to fight. I mean, you're not just fighting one attorney or one, this or that. You're fighting a whole system. And I mean, I don't know where I was really going with that, but it's just another avenue as far as what Ricky said is we all need to come together and try and take this down. I mean, I know we've gotten a lot more what do I want to say, like talk about, in the world today compared to, I would say 5 or 10 years ago. I mean, and I only think that that's sadly because they're just affecting more and more families, because in the beginning, before I had a CPS case and someone came and told me that they had their kids taken, I probably would have thought they must have done something wrong. They don't just take your kids for no reason. But until you become involved or know somebody close to you that has been involved and had their children taken, you almost cannot really believe that that's what's truly going on. And sadly, that's exactly what's going on.
I agree.
They don't know the CPS is not the Child Protective Services anymore. It's child, what do I call it? It's child abuse protectors.
Yeah, no, really. I would definitely agree with that.
This is not CPS anymore, and this is what the world needs to know. And oh, by the way, do you know about the documentary that just came out a couple of months ago, Never in America?
No, I haven't heard about that one.
It's on X.
Where would I find it?
On X. It's filmed by Ryan Matta. It hit 11 million viewers in 11. It hit 1 million views in 11 days. Is at 1.5 right now. We are in it at the 1 hour 41 minute mark. Put San Diego on the map.
Wow. What is it called again?
Never in America.
I'll have to look at that.
Has to do with baby Cyrus in Wyoming. We got 43 seconds of the movie. They pulled the curtains, the dark curtains, and opening up what's going on with the CPS.
Very unfortunate.
You see, you have to follow them. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Don.
You have to follow the money. That's the way you're going to get all of these people, to give people their children back, because what they're doing is fraud. They're taking federal funding. There is someone she's amazing. I can give you her information off air. And she won the first DFACS case ever in the state of California in the 80s and won the family $7 million. The woman is 84 years old. She came out of retirement, reinstated her license because she can't stand what's going on, doesn't want a penny from anyone. She is amazing.
She's on to something big right now. Really big. And it could actually be an endangerment to her life.
Oh, I believe it. I mean, look at Nancy Schaefer. I mean, she's probably turning over in her grave as we speak, knowing what is still going on today, knowing that her life was basically taken for this cause,
I mean, I got really worried too, because these little towns, they go way back with the families and the judges. And so, I mean, I started getting really worried, I had one attorney tell me this is how people die. And I'm like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? I just couldn't believe they said that to me, so.
How many years were you a social worker for the county before they basically kicked you out, if you want to say?
Well, no, I left. I was only
Oh, okay.
PRNing temporary for them, hoping maybe to go permanent. But after I saw what was going on, I told them no way, no how. I would never, ever would I ever work for an agency that did the things that they did and thought it was okay. So I basically was a whistleblower for 2 counties in Georgia, and yeah, it was pretty bad. The
I
things
know
that I
half of
saw.
these half of these, or if not, I want to say all of these social workers. I mean, I have yet to come across a good one. I mean, I know there might be a few here and there left, but I mean, most of these social workers don't even have children themselves,
They
or,
don't.
they just are so young. They have no credentials, they have no degrees. They're just like off of the street and came in and were told to do it this way and do it that way. And that's what they're doing. And it's like, how can they tell me that I'm not a good enough parent and come take my children when they're like 20 years old and don't have a degree of anything to do with child, development or anything along those lines. You know what I mean? And it's just disgusting from every point that you look at it, because again, the people that are affected the most are the children. And it's like the way that they just rip these children out of their homes and place them into like a foster placement that is complete, unknown to them with these strangers. I would be traumatized as an adult if you did that to me. I mean,
Right.
and then to see these children just scream and pull at their parents when these visits end and don't understand why they can't come home. And, they keep setting you up with all these classes that you finish, or, counseling or this or that. And then they just keep moving the goalposts. And it's like, I think every person that's ever come up to me and said that they had a CPS case, the first thing they say is, I've completed the case plan, but, and it's like, it doesn't even matter about the case plan anymore. It's like they're just putting all these barriers in front of you to try and make you fail, or give you another reason not to keep pushing forward, or to make you want to break. And if you do have some kind of substance abuse problem, then they want you to relapse, or, it's nothing about supporting you to try and reunify. It's all the opposite, and
I agree.
it's just truly like disgusting to know that this is what's happening to innocent children. And if it just continues like this, I mean, our children's children, you don't even want to know what that world's going to look like. Which brings me to another topic. It's like, once you get brought into the system, you're in it for lifetime. I mean, my kids now, God forbid, if they have kids, they're going to be targeted. I mean, it's like, once you're in the system, I feel like you're just another target, and they just keep filtering down. And it's just really unfortunate. But
Well, I work. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
no, yeah,
Yeah,
I was finished.
yeah, I work for a nonprofit clinic. It's a health clinic, so it's faith-based. And what my job is, I also work with the homeless population, and I could tell you every one of the people in there had an encounter with defects. They're addicts, they're traumatized, you know, um, you hear their stories. One girl I'm working with, she was in 57 foster homes.
Oh my
57,
God.
57 foster homes, 6 group homes, and she can't even count the amount of respite cares. Abused in every one of them, she said, except for 2. Like,
Wow.
and yeah, yeah, it's bad, but it's really bad.
Well, Ricky, what is the next court date coming up for your daughter-in-law?
Um, like I said, it was yesterday, and I don't know, they threw in declarations of truth. Anyway, she got lucky. She got a new judge. It's a lady, and we just have a good vibe on her. So they're gonna have hearings. All I know is she gave a bunch of pictures. Well, anyway, since they retaliated, they literally violated our human dignity. 2 social workers, high surveillance, in a room with an elderly dependent great grandma at the time, me, the mother, 2 kids. They type on their laptops, or when we're in a doctor's office, type it on their cell phones. They follow the mother to the bathroom during potty time, diaper changes, peeking in the doors, typing on their phones. And it's
They
just
use the doctor's visit as the child's visit.
so these 2 new social workers, they've been lying on the records. They keep saying Oh, there's no bond between the mother and the children. Oh, there's no bond between the mother and the children. I've got multiple videos on it. They scream for their mother. I got videos. They're so close to their mother and their family. They whisper in my ear, Grandpa, I want to go with you and Mommy. As soon as they see their mom, Mom, they just don't let her go. But, oh, there's no bond between the mother and the children. There's no bond between liars, pathological, sick liars. I don't even think a jail cell is good for them. There should be a public execution.
But see those videos that you speak, those videos that you speak about.
Children. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. Those videos that you speak about, are you making sure that her public defender, I'm assuming, is actually putting those in as evidence so that the judge can see it?
Well, we hope so. I mean, everybody knows about it.
I know, but see, that's the thing. A lot of people want to jump to the assumption right away that, oh, that judge is corrupt, or that judge is corrupt, or that judge is just going off of whatever the social worker is saying. But in reality, if the public defender or the attorney for the parent is not putting stuff in as evidence, as far as, videos or like the classes that they're taking or the certificates of completion for everything, then the judge will never really know about it.
Here, I think
so. You have to make sure that that stuff's actually getting filed as evidence, to be brought up in court. Otherwise, the judge will never know about it.
Here's what I think's going on now. It was brought up. Her lawyer brought up. They're going to bring somebody in, an eyewitness, to the visits for the mother's side to document.
Okay, that's good. And then will this eyewitness be subpoenaed to come to court and testify with all of that?
Yeah.
Hopefully good information.
Yeah, her lawyer's doing this. It's somebody with the attorney side and the mother's side to document, these social workers lying.
Is it a private attorney or is it a public defender?
It's court appointed.
Yeah.
But
hopefully that court-appointed attorney is really a good one. I know there are a few out there, but, they can only do so much because they do work for the state. So, I mean, they're technically already against you from the get-go.
But the thing is, we've raised so much hell filing motions against them. Anytime they don't do anything, my son would file something, fire him right on the spot. You're fired. You would tell the judge, you need to recuse yourself. And I mean, we've raised hell where they're going to have to work.
Yeah.
I know she.
You also don't want to have what happened to me, kind of where they threw at me, well, you're just at that time clock where you're out of time. Meaning the attorney for my youngest said at the TPR hearing that I could see mother did all this. I could see father did all this. And, I definitely could see child returning home, but we are unfortunately out of time.
Yeah, well, you know what?
Therefore, you lose your rights, and now your child gets to suffer for the rest of his life because we're out of time. But you just said on record that if we had more time, your child would go home.
They're not getting Malika and Zaya in the long run. They're absolutely not. I tell them in court every time, you're not getting these children. As long as I'm breathing, I'm getting them back.
Now, what is the relationship like with the caregiver and your daughter-in-law right now? Currently, no relationship.
Nothing.
And now she doesn't get any visits neither, or she has. Does she still get visits?
With the agency under high surveillance with 2 social workers typing on laptops and lying on record that there's no bond.
Yeah, that's so unfortunate.
Right, Donna? Explain it to her.
I don't think she heard you. I think she's muted. Maybe she got disconnected.
I don't see her. Well, it's we just turn in a bunch of collages, pictures and pictures from birth, pages of it, collages of how happy the children are. Everybody knows these children are happy with their mom, with their family.
Well, like I said, just make sure that public defender or court-appointed attorney is actually turning that in as evidence, so the judge can see it.
They are. The last judge also said it at the trial, open on record, there is an undeniable love and bond between the mother and these children. That's on record too.
It's like, why are they not returning the children then? What is it that they're holding her up for?
retaliation, because I turn this into a high-profile case here. They hate me. If you went to my website, you would see the most craziest website of all. I gave them character names. Like one social worker, he's the Thing. Looks like a poster for a horror movie with lasers coming out of his eyes, with a boy and girl holding. I got the guardian ad litem as the Gland Reaper. I got the county consul as the injectioncutioner. Injection, whatever. I call her the Needler. I got the Riddler from Batman. He says a riddle, and the answer is the Needler. I mean, they hate me. I had no mercy on their souls once they did a number on me. And you know what? There's nothing they can do about it.
Does your daughter-in-law have an upcoming court date?
Yeah. I tried to work with them one time in court. I shut the website down. They actually gave me my unsupervised visits back. They were just kissing my butt. But when they retaliated against the mother like that, what they did to her, I got brutal.
Yeah.
So yeah, they retaliated. I mean, what do you do? But she only goes up to here on me, up to here on me, and a little tiny thing. What do you do when you have a guy bigger than me blocking the door, lecturing her, gaslighting her? You can't have nothing to do with the paternal family. You got to move out. You're going to lose your chance of reunification. You can't have nothing to do with anything from that guy's family, a half sibling 2,000 miles away. And that's a 14th Amendment.
You have to tell my kids, as far as they wanted me and father to separate, and that they told me and the kids all the time, if mother doesn't leave father, then you will never be returned. So the kids used to show up to the visit with their hand on the hip and say, Mom, are you doing what you're supposed to? And I'm like, what's that? Well, have you left dad yet? I'm like, who's telling you that? Well, they said we can't come home until you leave dad.
Yeah, they separate families. They separate families on purpose. They keep them away for a year. They try and break the entire bond for the entire family.
Yet we were all under one plan of reunification for the whole family, not just for mom, not with dad out the picture, but that's just what they wanted to say, to try and divide more, divide and conquer. That's what their favorite thing to do is. And then they tell us that we can't talk about the case with the kids, but that's all they do with the kids, is talk about the case. It's just it's ugh.
How old is your youngest?
He turned 5 last October. And see, that's the other thing about that situation. They are still letting us keep in contact very seldom, like me and the father, my husband, just got to visit him last week. But the kicker was, last October, he turned 5. But a week before that, they decided to let us know that not only did they move, but they moved clear across the states to Cincinnati, Ohio, and they were in California here with us very locally. And so we were then not able to see him for his birthday. So the first time that they came back to California was just this last week. And the day that we were supposed to see him, unfortunately, was the first day of what was supposed to be trial for, trying to terminate this guardianship. And so they told us the only other day that they had for us to see him was the day before, and that they would be at Disneyland. So they would be willing to come out to the picnic area and have lunch with us to say hi. Well, that was as awkward as could be, because, he's 5 years old. He doesn't want to leave Disneyland, but I guess he really did want to leave to see us. But then, what were we going to do at a picnic area? We're not at a park. We're not anywhere to have fun. So we brought a little simple toy like we usually do, but it was just real awkward. But the most unfortunate part was, they always tell us that we cannot. Oh, I'm echoing. That we cannot refer to us as mom. Is that me? I don't know. I think I'm echoing.
I think someone else joined in.
I know. I think Veronica joined in. She was supposed to be my guest this evening, but she was having tech issues. So I told her that we might have her come back next week. But Veronica, you're more than welcome to stay for the next 10 minutes if you'd like. But real quick, to end my story here, they told us that we can never consider ourselves mom and dad when we go to visits. We can't bring any food. We can't try and separate from them, or, all these threats of, or we'll end the visit. Well, the most unfortunate part this time was, we knew that they were going to change his last name when they adopted him, because they made that very clear. But this time, not only did they tell us that, yes, they finally did change his name, but they also changed his middle name. And that just brought my husband to tears at the very end. He wanted to almost leave immediately, because he just quite couldn't take it, because the response from the adoptive father was, because we were asking our child, oh, do you know your name or whatever, and blah blah blah, because he had a little like bracelet on, those kind that you used to have if you ever got lost and has your information on it. So it had his full name on it, and the foster or the adoptive parent said, so and so, what's your full name? And he said it, and I was like, that's not his middle name. And I was like, oh, so you changed his middle name too? And his response was, of course. And my husband almost wanted to, but he didn't, thank goodness, because that's just what they're waiting for, is for us to just go over the top and then we'll never see him again. But I mean, still, that just really broke my heart too, because it was like, how dare him say, of course? Of course, for what reason? Why did you even have to change his name to begin with? I mean, you're definitely raising him to know that you're not his biological parents, I'm assuming, because we're still in the picture. But I mean, it's just so unfortunate from every avenue, because truly the only person that's suffering is my child, from every avenue. He doesn't get to be now with his brothers. His brothers haven't seen him since December of 2023, I believe. And they've been dying to see him. And it's just so unfortunate from every avenue. And the only people that really benefited from this was them, because they got their child that they couldn't have on their own. And it's just it's so disgusting to know. But that's another point too. When I gave birth to this child, my mother dropped me off at the hospital because I was visiting my two other boys that she had placement of. And she dropped me off at the little turnabout and said, I hope you make the right decision and give this child up for adoption, because look at the nightmare you're in already. And I remember looking at her like, oh my gosh, this is still your grandchild. And to this day, she's had nothing to do with him. She acts like he doesn't even exist. She gets upset with my two other children that would mention him at times or used to have visits with him when our case was ongoing. She would say, I don't know why you're even visiting him. He's going to be adopted to a good family. And basically, there's no reason to have any kind of contact, which to me is just disgusting. I mean, she raised me and my siblings as Catholic, and we went to Catholic school our whole life. And, she still goes to church and brings my kids to church. And it's like she's trying to raise them a certain way, but not live the same way, typical hypocrite. And, we have about 5 minutes left, and I didn't want this to be about me, but it's just the same situation with every case or story that I hear. And it's just so unfortunate, because it's the same thing happening over and over again. The children that truly need to be saved or taken out of their abusive homes don't get taken out. And then you hear about them, unfortunately, being unalived somehow, and CPS knowing that they needed to be involved. And they only come into families that truly don't need them involved and take these children for no reason other than financial gain. And it's truly disgusting. And I just wish that we would come to a way to stop this once and for all, because it's disgusting. It truly is. This is what our America is turning into. There's no family court unit at all anymore, I feel like. And if I didn't have children and I found out about this, I wouldn't even want to have kids, because I would be petrified that they would come and take them.
It's going to take a war. It's going to take a war. There needs to be a civil war. If there was a war with the the lead taken till, a lot of them wouldn't want to work this job.
Yeah,
it needs to be a war. You just don't mess with blood.
Well, that's part of the reason why I do this show, is to kind of get the word out there, because, maybe if I knew what I know now when this first started, maybe things might have turned out differently. I don't know. But a lot of people need to know their rights, and know that, if they ever come to your door, unless they have a warrant to come in, they can have a warrant for your kids all day, every day. But unless they have a separate warrant to come into your home, they cannot come into your home and take your kids. Little things like that you need to know.
We need to get together, and when somebody's in court, there needs to be a couple of thousand people in that trying to get in the courtroom lobby per family.
Well, that's another thing that project does, is they do court watching for people. So if you have an upcoming case that you need court watchers at, they'll broadcast it on the page, and they'll get support to come be a court watcher for you. Because anything
we had 8 supporters yesterday in court,
and they let them all in.
They wouldn't let them in the court, but they were in the lobby. They knew they took everybody's names down. One was actually an elected school board official. She called in the board of supervisors twice.
See, and I don't know why you're not allowed in the courtroom. Like that right there should be against your constitutional right, because it's a public type of case. I mean, you should be allowed in.
Because they're covering up crimes against humanity.
Yeah, exactly.
They're
Oh
they're
yeah.
they're they're covering up perjury. They're covering up case fiction, fixing. They're covering up false records. They're covering up child abuse. They're covering up sexual abuse. They're covering up torment, torture.
Yep.
Yeah, they're covering up crimes as a crime scene. That's where people needs to get together when they go in that courtroom. And they need to tell the judge, no, these are not dependents. These are hostages. This is a crime scene. I would not abide by some crap BS confidentiality. Everybody just needs to get together on that because we have rights. I mean, there needs to be cameras in this courtroom.
Yep. No, yeah, you're right. But like I said, I feel like it's not even a true court of justice because nothing of the judicial system goes on in there. It's all just theater and a circus and kangaroo court, all these terminologies, because nothing is done. Yeah, exactly. Well, we have a couple minutes left here. Do you have any last words, Donna or Ricky, that you'd like to share before we end the show?
I don't, but thank you for having me.
Free Malika and Zion.
That's cool.
Say their names, bring them home. I have a restraining order. It's not going to stop me from showing them, from saying them. I'll be passing flyers out the next month too again. I've been hitting all the churches everywhere.
Well, hopefully one day all these videos will be proof to your grandchildren that, they have the family there supporting them and always fighting for them. Because if anything, that should be enough in itself, That's why I do these shows too for my son one day. Hopefully that, he'll be able to go back and say whatever he was told about his parents or siblings. No, my mom was actually doing this on this day because this will be up for forever on the internet, And
one thing I have to say though, they do lie to the foster placement and say what terrible people they are, and they believe it.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what these foster parents were in my situation.
Deidre, I forgot to tell you. So the caregivers on record had the social workers write down that I raped my daughter-in-law. I molested my granddaughter. Well, she said that my daughter-in-law said that. And then the person I raped my daughter-in-law recently, just last year, said, we partnered up and we were following her out of the hospital to her car.
Sick.
I was rude to her too, but I've never met her. I'm a bad man, but I've never met her.
Well, that's the other thing. How come all this hearsay is allowed from social workers, but nothing hearsay is allowed from, parents?
Where was the police? Why am I not in handcuffs? Why am I not? I should have been shanked in a jail cell for what I've done. Something the unthinkable.
Yeah,
how are they getting away with this? That's sick.
Yeah,
that's what got me started. Blogging everybody.
I mean, hopefully something happens in your daughter-in-law's case in her favor. We'll all be, praying for her. And if you ever want to come on in the future and give us any kind of update, I'd love to have you. And Donna, you're more than welcome to join because anybody that wants to fight the system is always welcome here. So again, anyone out there watching, if you want to be a guest on my show in the future, I do these every Wednesday. I know today's Thursday, but it was a reschedule. But every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific. So if you want to be a guest or come on, just call that 888 number on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, and my producer will get you set up. And
our advocate wants a rain check. She texted me a little while ago. The activist, she's a journalist.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no worries. We can have her come on in the future. I'd love that. All right. Well, I want to thank you again, Ricky and Donna, for joining us. And hopefully you will tune in next week to see our next guest come on. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
A vivid picture is encrypted in your mind as the critics get in line like they're witnessing a crime. But then you notice there's a shiver in your spine from the feelings of discontentment and bitterness combined. Heartbroken when you listen to the judges. Another kid's innocence corrupted. And if you go against it, it's destructive. Consider this predicament the toughest, but we believe in a system fit for justice. Child Protective Services only pretends to save it. The one solution for this is worthy of instant praises. 30 years of experience with relentless cases. Allow me to introduce them. This is Vincent Davis, defending you when they don't think a mother fits the role. Is it juvenile dependency or government control? Observe the pain in their eyes. It's time for us to realize we are the last